Most people train for years in self-defense and never realize they're preparing for the wrong fight. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the 5 unmistakable signs your martial arts so-called street fighting moves won't save you. And I promise after this video, you'll never look at training the same way again. Let's check it out. What I'm about to share with you are some of CFA's core standards for real-world combat preparation: integration, resistance, prediction, initiative, and execution. And understand this, these are only 5. There are many more critical standards I'll be covering in future videos. So make sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out. And here's the truth, and you're not gonna like it. Martial arts were never designed to meet these 5 real-world standards. They weren't built around the realities these standards exposed. That's why it's critical to evaluate your martial arts training honestly and understand exactly where the gaps are. Now, if your style or system is missing these critical pieces, that doesn't mean you're stuck. That's exactly why this channel exists, to help you fill those gaps, strengthen your weak points, and build real functional street-ready skills. Now, if you want to explore the full spectrum right now, you'll find them laid out in great detail across many of my library of books and instructional videos. You can find them by visiting my website at sammyfranco.com. And if you're a War Machine Elite member, you can stream these videos for free inside the members only section of this channel. And if you're not already a member, click the join button below and see the different perks and membership options we have available. Now, let's start by taking a look at the first sign your martial art is not preparing you for real-world violence. The first gap is compartmentalization training. Now, the martial arts separate everything: striking here, grappling there, weapons somewhere else. But real violence doesn't do that. It blends everything together at once. Now listen, you can go from a verbal threat to striking, to multiple attackers, to weapons, to the ground, all in a matter of seconds in a real-world combat situation. If your training doesn't integrate all of these dynamics into the same drills and scenarios, including use of force escalation, then you're practicing isolated drills that fall apart under pressure. Combat is fluid, not divided. Okay, let me run a CFA scenario with you so you can understand how we do not compartmentalize the training. Now keep in mind, as I said before, there are times to compartmentalize your training if you're working on technique isolation. That's something completely different. But if you don't have this type of training, I'm telling you, you're falling short and you're not prepared for the street. So I'm going to diffuse the situation with the body opponent bag. It's going to be over a traffic dispute, a parking spot dispute. Obviously, the body opponent bag can't talk. Use your imagination and you can visualize how this is actually going down. Look, man, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to take your spot. You didn't have your signal on. It wasn't intentional. I'm not trying to bust your balls. I'm not trying to give you a hard time. What's up, man? Okay, stop. Notice now this guy enters into the scenario. So what we have is a potential multiple attacker scenario, which has a whole different series of responses, okay? That's not the same as a one-on-one de-escalation, right? Another guy steps into the picture, everything changes. So again, we're showing you how this is changing dynamically, okay? So we're gonna pick it up from here. Okay, what's up, man?
Why are you giving my buddy a hard time?
I'm actually not, I'm telling him.
No, you are.
First of all, you don't have to raise your voice.
No, I do.
We can work this out between both of you.
You're not listening.
Okay, first of all, hey, what's up, man? Just relax, calm down. You don't have to get... Okay, so notice how it escalated to a knife attack. In this situation, Tommy attacked, I V-gripped, I pulled him off balance, and I created what we call the assembly line theory, where you line up multiple attackers so it makes this guy more difficult to get at me while this guy's in the way. It's a terrible scenario in terms of safety and in terms of dealing with this. It's incredibly dangerous. However, what this illustrates is that it's dynamic and we're not compartmentalizing the training just to a one-on-one traffic dispute or a multiple attacker or a knife attack. It's all 3 combined. The level of force has escalated within one drill.
From the ancient Colosseum, where gladiators lived and died, to the storm-torn seas where iron met flesh upon shattered decks, to the battlefield where wrath carved kingdoms in blood, bone, and steel. We follow the War Machine. War Machine Chronicles celebrates the warrior archetype, the ethos society seeks to suppress, to soften, to erase. From the age of iron and blood, where warriors roared defiance in the face of death, to all men who still feel the war drum beat beneath their skin, written for fighters, soldiers, and survivors. For those who still walk the edge, it is transformation, forged to harden the mind, discipline the body, and sharpen the will. War Machine Chronicles, not just a book, it's a sacred codex of wrath. Over 300 pages, more than 100 haunting illustrations, combat verse, and lethal philosophy forged by Sammy Franco. War Machine Chronicles, not just a story, but a weapon. It teaches, it tests, it transforms. War Machine Chronicles, available now on Amazon in hardcover, paperback, and Kindle.
The second gap is compliant training, the absence of real resistance. If your training partner never fights you back, never resists, never tries to shut you down, then nothing you practice will survive in real combat. Compliance creates choreography, not combat preparation. Real violence is unpredictable, fast, and hostile, and if your techniques only work when your partner is helping you, they're worthless. You must put your skills under pressure. You must feel resistance. You must work against somebody who's actively trying to stop you. Anything less is fantasy. And let me be clear, I'm not talking about full combat pressure testing. That was covered in my video titled Combat Pressure Testing Challenge, Real versus Fake. That level of testing is dangerous and should only be used to validate a technique before it's codified into a system of combat, period. And if you're thinking, well, shouldn't we pressure test this all the time? The answer is absolutely not. If you attempted real pressure testing on a regular basis, you're going to end up injured or in the emergency room. Combat pressure testing is a validation method. It is not a training method. What I'm talking about here is pressure-based training. Real kinetic energy, real non-compliance, and progressively harder drills that expose weaknesses long before a real fight does. The third gap is lack of pre-contact skills and training. Most martial artists only train what happens after the fight has already started. That's a fatal mistake. Real violence begins long before the first punch. You must train for awareness, threat cues, distance control, timing, verbal engagement, and the ability to read intent. If you can't identify the attack before it happens, you're already behind. Street violence is won or lost in the pre-contact phase. Hey, we're about to get back into the video, but let me ask you something. Do you want to legitimately accelerate your self-defense skills? And are you sick of clickbait videos teaching absolute garbage? Or tired of being misled by unqualified wannabe experts who have zero credibility or experience? If the answer is yes, now is the time to join my War Machine memberships. As a member, you're going to get exclusive access to in-depth training videos, exclusive full-feature video content, downloadable training PDFs, and direct insights you're not going to find anywhere else. Plus, you're going to have direct access to me in the comments section of all my videos. So if you have questions, you're going to get real, detailed answers from me and not some random keyboard warrior. So if you're serious about mastering real-world combat skills, hit the join button below and start training like a true war machine. Now, let's get back to the lesson. The fourth gap is the absence of a first strike methodology. Now, most martial arts wait for the attack, they defend and counterattack. But that's not how real violence works. When the threat is imminent, hesitation can get you hurt. A true reality-based combat system must have an entire first strike methodology built into it, knowing when to launch, where to hit, and how to shut down your attacker before he even gets his offense going. Initiative wins fights. Reaction loses them. And the fifth gap is the lack of functional delivery under stress. It doesn't matter how clean your martial art techniques looks in class. What matters is whether you can deliver it when you're experiencing an adrenaline dump, your hands are shaking, your vision narrows, and your fight turns violent and chaotic. Stress strips everything away that is not real. If your training doesn't prepare you to function under fear, adrenaline, fatigue, and resistance, then your skills collapse the moment violence starts. The reality is, martial arts were never designed to meet these 5 standards. They were never designed for the chaotic violence of the real world. So if you've watched this video and realized your style or system is missing these critical pieces, that doesn't mean you're stuck. That's exactly why, and I mentioned this earlier, this channel exists. It's to help you fill those gaps, strengthen your weak points, and build real functional street-ready skills. Use these standards as a roadmap. Test your martial art, pressure check your skills, and keep building yourself into something stronger and better. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys at the next video.